of our people.
You have a...
Look at this.
6 million.
Look at this. I truly believe that one day Tommy Robinson will not be seen as a hero of the UK, but he will be seen as a joke and as a foreign asset. And the nationalist movement in the UK will disown him and push him out. Because people are starting to say, hey, we're Britain first, not any other country, including Israel first.
And then they turned on us.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
They turned on us, man. And therefore they have a special place in hell.
This man that hails himself a great British patriot said nothing as a foreigner told him there's a special place in hell for the UK for turning our backs on the Jewish people.
His role is to make sure that British nationalists don't start asking, are you Britain first or are you Israel first? That is his job, because I can guarantee you, when British people start saying, hey, are you Israel first or Britain first? Tommy Robinson will be on the front lines against those people, and he will try to shut up any sort of questioning that is anywhere near the line of, are you Britain first or are you Israel first? Tommy Robinson is not a shill for Israel. No, he's just a proud Englishman, mate, who loves his country, mate. He loves beautiful England. He's just so exhilarated just thinking about it, mate. Tommy Robinson is a good lad. He's one of the boys, mate. Then you see Tommy Robinson in Israel doing this speaking tour. Who pays for the speaking tour? Ask yourself this question. Who pays for the speaking tour? Who pays for the plane ticket? Who pays for the hotel? Who sets up the agenda? Who sets up the schedule? Who sets up all the speaking engagements? Who sets up the interviews? You see him talking to this Ohana guy. Ohana. Oh, he's an Israeli diplomat. His last name's Ohana. Homie, Ohana doesn't sound like a Semitic name. It sounds like something from Hawaii. How do you get a meeting with the diplomat? Who sets up the engagement? Who sets up the meeting? It's all set up, dude. It's all a giant freaking sham. It's all bullshit. There's no such thing as objective thinkers. There's no such thing as unbiased people. There's no such thing as unbiased journalists. There's people who have agendas, and that's it. Everyone's got an agenda. I have an agenda. Tommy, everyone's got an agenda. Some people are just honest about it. I'm honest about it. Of course I got an agenda. But so you see Tommy Robinson talking to this Ohana guy, and Ohana's talking about World War II and all this stuff. And then I'll show you guys the video. I don't know if you guys ever saw this clip. I thought this was hilarious, guys. You got to watch this shit. I watched this. I thought this shit was hilarious.
Maintain the European, the Judeo-Christian values and the Western way of life that Europe enjoyed for so many years and the freedoms that we share? Or will they cave in? Because when the immigrants come in small numbers, they seek to assimilate. When they come in large numbers, they seek to dominate.
What did I tell you guys before? What did I tell you guys in my video about this topic? Nationalism and the pro-Israel agenda and all this. Tommy Robinson is an agent of Israel. That's what Tommy Robinson is. Tommy Robinson is not this independent thinker who just cares for good old jolly England and St. George's Cross, mate. That's not what Tommy Robinson is. Tommy Robinson is an agent for that flag that you see next to him. That's what he is. His job, this is my belief, my theory, just given what I've seen and listening to this guy talking. But I've talked about this before. His job is to make sure that Great Britain becomes nationalistic to the point where they're going to hate people from the pro-Palestine cause, but not nationalistic to the point where they're going to go against Israel. Because what happens with nationalism nowadays is it will get nationalistic to the point when people will start saying, wait a second, Mr. Robinson, holding your Mogen David flag. Are you Britain first or are you Israel first? Which one is it? And I wish that somebody asks Mr. Robinson this question. I haven't seen anyone ask him this question. But that is what's coming. And you're already starting to see that bubbling up slowly in the British nationalist movement, where people are saying, wait a second, we're Britain first. We're UK, United Kingdom first. We're St. George's flag first. We're the Union Jack flag first. We're not Israel and the Mogen David flag first. What are you doing here? And I believe, this is my belief, all right? I truly believe that one day Tommy Robinson will not be seen as a hero of the UK, but he will be seen as a joke and as a foreign asset. And the nationalist movement in the UK will disown him and push him out. Because people are starting to say, hey, we're Britain first, not any other country, including Israel first. Israel doesn't get an exemption from the terminology of UK first, or America first for that matter. My belief, my suspicion, my prognostication is that Tommy Robinson is going to get pushed into obscurity. And he is going to be pushed into the margins of the nationalist cause. Because people are going to say, you're Israel first, not Britain first. And these videos do not help him. Because these videos simply expose him as a pawn of the Israeli government. He will not be seen as a true nationalist by the general population of the British patriotic movement. That's my prediction for Tommy Robinson. Write that down. Just write that one down. In fact, everyone, it's already happening.
The Israeli Jew that told Tommy Robinson there's a special place in hell for the UK has doubled down on his comment and said that anyone offended by it is obviously anti-Semitic and taking it out of context.
And I said there's a special place in hell for the British.
You know, the UK has got a special place in my heart because on the one hand, they really helped give birth to the Jewish state in World War I. The Balfour Declaration, the San Remo Accords, the mandate for a Jewish Palestine, the UK was at the forefront of that. And then they turned on us.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
They turned on us, man. And therefore they have a special place in hell.
All those anti-Semites are people looking to dismiss Tommy Robinson that are taking this thing out of context.
Talk about cry out in pain as they strike you. Let me just be clear. Britain is a sovereign Christian nation. We are under no obligation to support Israel or any foreign nation for that matter. But that man and every single one of his countrymen believe that you and I and your family, your wife, husbands, parents, grandparents, your children, your grandchildren, all deserve to go to hell unless we support the Jewish people in Israel. Can you imagine if a Russian said there's a special place in hell? That Jewish man pointed out it was the UK that created their nation in 1948, but he thinks we owe them an eternity of support, despite what they've done to us and to our allies. If you don't know about the USS Liberty, look it up. I'm not even surprised by what he said because I know my nation's history. I know what these people think of us. I know what they've done to us. But what I'm sickened by is Tommy Robinson's response or lack thereof. This man that hails himself a great British patriot said nothing as a foreigner told him there's a special place in hell for the UK for turning our backs on the Jewish people. I would have told him in no uncertain terms that the UK is under no obligation to support any foreign nation, and how dare he say we have a special place in hell. But instead, Tommy grovelled. No, sir, it's the British establishment. It's not the British people. We love Israel. I promise. Please don't condemn us to hell. It's as pathetic as it is false.
Because think about it. Why is he talking? What does Israel have to do with Great Britain? What does being pro-Israel have to do with Great Britain? What does pro-Israel or being pro-Israel have to do with Britain first? So people are going to say, well, what does this speaking tour in Israel have to do with being Britain first? Nothing. So people are just going to say, okay, so you did all these speaking tours, you did this speaking tour in Israel, you did all these speaking engagements in Israel, you spoke to these Israeli diplomats and all that stuff. Okay. And so what? You're just a pawn for a foreign power. You're just doing, you've just become a mouthpiece for a foreign power. So what is Tommy Robinson's role in all this? His role is to make sure that British nationalists don't start asking, are you Britain first or are you Israel first? That is his job, because I can guarantee you, when British people start saying, hey, are you Israel first or Britain first? Tommy Robinson will be on the front lines against those people, and he will try to shut up any sort of questioning that is anywhere near the line of, are you Britain first or are you Israel first? That is the bottom line.
The question is, who's stronger? Who will win? And will the Europeans manage to unite to stand against the forces of radicalism and extremism and fundamentalism? 80 years ago, we have lost 6 million of our people.
You have a
Look at this.
6 million.
Look at this. So he's got a book on the desk, and Tommy Robinson is about to pick up the book. And this Mr. Ohana guy, Mr. Ohana, gives him a little slap on the wrist. This is not a speaking tour. This is a humiliation ritual. And Tommy Robinson is going to go back to England, not as a hero, but as a humiliated individual. And the British nationalist movement will push him out. They will see him as nothing but a pawn for a foreign country and not a true British nationalist. Let's watch that again. This is pretty hilarious.
Million of our people.
you have a
Oh, listen, Goy. I make the rules here. This is not your country.
6 million of our people.
Not a true British nationalist, are you, Mr. Tommy Robinson? I don't see you saying, hey, mate, don't fucking touch me, you cunt. I don't see any of that. Where's all that hooligan pub talk here? I'm not seeing that here.
We don't forget what you see here on my desk, this book.
I'm going to pick up the book, Goy. You're not going to pick up the book. I'm going to pick up the book. This is not your country. This is Israel. And here we follow Israel first, not Britain first. I make the rules here, Goy. That's what's happening here. And it's just a giant humiliation ritual that Tommy Robinson has put himself through. And he just looks humiliated. He looks like a child being reprimanded by an adult. This is a humiliation speaking tour. And I want to show you guys something else. Now look at this. Here he is talking to Rabbi Fleischer, Yishai Fleischer. This is Britain Fest, mates. Britain Fest right here, mate.
The UK has got a special place in my heart because on the one hand, they really helped give birth to the Jewish state in World War I. The Balfour Declaration, the San Remo Accords, the mandate for a Jewish Palestine, the UK was at the forefront of that. And then they turned on us.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
They turned on us, man. And therefore they have a special place in hell for turning on the Jewish people.
Ooh. So some foreigner who's not British is telling Mr. Robinson, who is supposed to be the mascot for British nationalism. He is supposed to be the mascot for British patriotism. And he's telling him that the hottest place in hell is reserved for your people, Mr. Robinson. So look at Robinson. Now Robinson tries to do damage control here. Check this one out.
For turning on the Jewish people,
Look
you
at
were
this,
like
look at
doing.
this.
They have a special place in hell. For turning on the
Oh
Jewish.
man, I don't think Robinson likes that. I don't think Robinson likes that. He knows it doesn't look good for him. Let's watch some more of this.
People, you were like doing this great thing. You were helping Israel be reborn after 2,000 years of exile, and it was, you know, it was a biblical value. It was also a defense for a UK value, but it all turned on us. Can we turn it back?
Can we turn back? The British government have just turned on Israel.
So now he tries to do damage control because this guy, Mr. Fleischer, just said that the hottest place in hell is reserved for the British. So now Tommy Robinson has to do damage control by saying, well, that's the British government and not the British people. Now, why does Tommy Robinson say this? Because he knows, back home in England, people are going to tell him, wait a second, mate. You hung out with some rabbi who said that the hottest place in hell was reserved for us. Mate, where the fuck are you, mate? Get your shit together, mate. Piss off, mate. So now he's got to do damage control by saying the British government, right? Not the British people, right? That's what I'm saying. Write this one down. Don't literally write it down. I'm just saying this as a figure of speech. I'm saying this as a form of expression. But write this one down. Tommy Robinson is going to get pushed out of the nationalist movement in Britain because he has demonstrated that he is not Britain first. He is Israel first. Mark my words. The logical conclusion of nationalism is our country first, not a foreign power first. That includes Israel. Israel doesn't have an exemption from this rule. Tommy Robinson is going to get pushed out of the nationalist movement, and the nationalist movement will turn against Tommy Robinson. And Israel's attempt to use the nationalist causes in Europe to go against the pro-Palestine cause in Europe is going to bounce right back into the face of Israel. And the nationalist cause in Europe is going to turn against Israel. Because people are going to say, we are our country first. We are here for Europa. We are not here for Israel. So Tommy is doing damage control.
Turn it back?
Can we turn back? The British government have just turned on Israel. But
They've been turning on us for a long time.
Yeah, but when we say they, it's the British government. So let's separate the people from the establishment. The establishment have turned. It's like when the American establishment were in power under Joe Biden. The American people didn't support that. The British public don't support what the British government have just done.
By the way, this is wrong. 53% of Americans, as of March of this year, are critical of Israel. So this guy's full of shit.
If it was put to a democratic vote on whether the British public wished to recognise the state of Palestine, it would be a resounding no.
I would like to see that happen. I would like to see that sort of referendum happen just to see if what this guy is saying is accurate.
It would be a resounding no. So the people haven't turned on Israel. The people haven't turned on Jews. The left-wing establishment have turned because they're appeasing their bloc vote and they're appeasing their...
The left-wing establishment. You don't think there are any right-wingers in the UK who are saying Britain first and not Israel first? You would be absolutely either oblivious or dishonest to say that there are no right-wingers in the UK who are saying Britain first, not Israel first. Yeah. This is a humiliation ritual by Mr. Robinson, or for Mr. Robinson. And it just shows that he is a pawn for a foreign power. And he is there not for Great Britain. He is there for Israel. And he is there, as I've already said, he is there to make sure, first, that the British people become critical of the pro-Palestine movement and not critical of Israel. Now, this is... I did a video about this Fleischer guy last year. But Fleischer did a video not too long ago in which he showed a video of a Norwegian nationalist verbally assaulting a pro-Palestine event in Norway. And I think he tried to rip the Palestinian flag away or something like that. And this Norwegian guy says, "Get the fuck out of here, Arab." And Fleischer played that video and he said, basically, I understand the anger of this man. We understand where this man's coming from. Making excuses for anti-Arab, I would argue anti-Semitic behavior, because Arabs are part of the Semitic family. Whether they want to act as if that's not the case or not doesn't matter. But he was making excuses for that anti-Semitic behavior. And I made the argument and I said, imagine if there was a pro-Israel event in Norway. Now, because this was a pro-Palestine event in Norway, and this Norwegian nationalist said, this is not Norway. He said, this is Norway. This is Norway. This is not the Middle East. Get the fuck out, Arab. And I made the argument. I made the observation. I said, okay, Mr. Fleischer likes this sort of behavior. He likes this sort of talk. Imagine if there was a pro-Israel event in Norway and I were to say, or if someone else were to say, this is not Israel, this is Norway, get the fuck out of here, Jew. And I'm not saying that I agree with that sort of rhetoric. I don't. I'm just making an observation. I'm asking people to imagine if that were the case. And I'm asking people to imagine, how would Mr. Rabbi Fleischer respond to that sort of behavior? He would not like it, but yet he will give excuses and provide justification for that sort of behavior when it is against people of Arab descent. Then the Norwegian guy proceeded to give the Sieg Heil gesture, and he said Sieg Heil. He actually said Sieg Heil. He went one step ahead of Mr. Elon Musk. He said, Sieg Heil, and walked away. And Mr. Fleischer said, well, I can understand why he's mad. I can understand why he's doing this. And I made the argument. Imagine if there was a pro-Israel event in Norway and somebody does the Sieg Heil at the pro-Israel event. He wouldn't like that. So why does he like it when the Sieg Heil is done against a pro-Palestine cause?
But let's see what's happening to Norway. Check this out. So this European white guy is running up to a pro-Pali anti-Israel protest in Norway, and I don't know in what city. And look what he does.
So he's showing this video, and this presumably Norwegian guy, he could be Ukrainian, I don't know, but he's European. I should say European. This European guy is saying, this is Europe, F off Arab. Imagine if I went to a pro-Israel rally in one of these countries and I said, this is not Israel, this is Europe, F off Jew. Imagine if I said that. Well, that would be wrong. Let's give this more of a listen.
This is Europe! Europe! Oh, do you care? Europe! Fuck Europe! Yeah! Fuck off!
So there's the Sieg Heil right there. He does the Nazi salute. So let's watch some more of this.
Okay. Let guys running up to a pro-Pali a procession happening in his town, and he runs up to them and he says, "This is Europe. This is Europe." And he's like, "Get out of here."
You're quoting half of what he said. He said, this is Europe, and he also said F off Arab. Just wanted to point that out.
And then he says, Sieg Heil, and he basically gives a Nazi salute.
Yeah, we saw that. We both saw the same thing.
How are we to feel about that?
Well, after being told for decades about the Holocaust, after being told for decades about the evils of Nazism, I would say that we should think that this is wrong, Mr. Fleischer. I mean, you and I have both been told about the Holocaust and Nazism for decades. And you, especially being Jewish, should know how we should think about Nazism. It's wrong. Is Nazism wrong no matter the context? That's my question to Mr. Fleischer. Is Nazism wrong no matter the context? Right, no matter the context, Nazism is wrong. Yes or no? Yes or no? Oh, well, if you're going to... Is this guy really going to say, well, in some contexts, Nazism is okay? Is he really going to make that argument? Okay, let's continue listening.
If you're really liberal, you might think to yourself, this guy is against free speech, and he's a Nazi.
I don't have to be a liberal to think that. This guy looks like a maniac. I mean, look at the face. I can tell the guy's crazy. This guy's nuts. Absolutely nuts. I don't have to be a liberal to think that, by the way. Do you have to be a liberal to think that someone saying Sieg Heil and doing the Nazi salute is wrong for doing that? If someone expressing Nazi sentiment is wrong, I don't have to be a Nazi, or I don't have to be a liberal to think that. I don't need to be a liberal. I don't need to be a liberal to think and conclude that someone expressing Nazi sentiment is insidious and wrong. What crazy world are we living in? All right, let's continue listening.
He's a Nazi.
Okay.
That is a fair interpretation. I don't see it that way.
Of course you don't. Of course you don't, Yishai Fleischer. Of course you don't. Now, why do I say that? Why do I say of course you don't? Because his ideology is fanatical. His ideology is, well, it's not too far away. It's not that far away. Because these are people who are fanatic Zionists. These are people who have this idea of they're ethno-nationalist. And you have a lot of people like this online who are Zionist, pro-Israel, blah blah blah. But then you show them things like the UK riots, and you say, "Hey, UK riots. You see people destroying property. You see some crazy British guy looking at a hotel because the hotel has refugees in it, and he's doing the." You're a liberal, you may see this guy as a Nazi. I don't really see it that way. Okay, so how do you see it, Mr. Fleischer? Let's continue watching.
I see this guy as probably freaking out that his Norway is being taken over by jihadis who are not calling for a Palestine in the land of Israel, in so-called Palestine. What they're really calling for is for a Palestine in his land.
Rewind ourselves to Germany, 1920s, before Hitler was elected. Let's rewind back to that time, and let's pretend, Mr. Fleischer, that we have just gone through the time machine, and we are now in 1920s Germany. And we hear stories of Marxist terrorists shooting police officers and committing crimes. And we also hear stories about how Marxists have tried to actually do revolutions within Germany to make Germany a Marxist country as a satrap of the Soviet Union. And then we see these very Germans who have been telling us these stories, telling us about how much they love Adolf Hitler. Now, Mr. Fleischer, you may say that these Germans are Nazis, if maybe you're a liberal. But you see, Mr. Fleischer, I don't really see it that way. I see Germans just freaking out that Marxists are trying to take over their country. And they just support Adolf Hitler because of that. That's why they're supporting Hitler. Because Hitler is talking about the dangers of Marxism, and he's talking about fighting for Germany, and he's talking about fighting to preserve Germany against communists and against the people who are enemies of the country. And you have this monster called the Soviet Union, and these people, they're freaking out. That's why they're supporting Hitler. You see, I can make this argument as well. You know why I can make this argument? Because you can always, in the face of evil, in the face of organized evil, be it Nazism, communism, in the face of organized evil, you will always find people who will find the justification to make the evil cause look good. You will always find people who can find the pretexts to justify whatever evil they're supporting. Genocide. That's what you're dealing with here. You're dealing with a rabbi who will provide excuses for Nazism, just as long as the Nazism is against Palestinians and the Palestinian cause. Which goes back to what I was telling you guys earlier. What is Israel's interest in the nationalistic far-right causes in Europe? Their interest is that these people become racist enough or even Nazistic enough to where they're going to go against Palestinians or the pro-Palestine cause, or against migrants because migrants tend to be pro-Palestine. But not nationalistic to the point where they're going to start questioning Israel or Israel's influence on the nationalist causes. So that's why you have Tommy Robinson. That's why you have Geert Wilders in the Netherlands. That's why you have pro-Israel figureheads in the AFD party in Germany. That's why Israel had a meeting with the Spanish far-right Vox party not too long ago. That's why Israel had a meeting with the right-wing Marine Le Pen party from France. They want to make sure that they can contain these parties. The thing about nationalism is that when it becomes a major cultural movement, it will take a shape of its own, regardless of whatever types of external factors try to do to influence it. It will take a shape of its own because people have agency and they have free will, and people will start thinking for themselves. And you can't really stop that sort of thing from happening. And people are going to tread upon the path of the logical conclusion of nationalism, right? What is nationalism? Nationalism is my country first. My country is the best country. I don't give a damn about your country. My country is the best country. Nationalism can take a very dark turn. We've seen this in 20th century history. And we're already seeing the fruits of this happening right now, growing right now. Regardless of that, when people tread upon the path of nationalism, they tend to take it to its logical conclusion, which is, if nationalism is my country first, then I don't want any external power or foreign nation to have any sort of meddling in my country. And Israel is not exempt from that. So they follow good old Tommy, and Tommy Robinson, he's not even using his real name. His real name is Yanksly Lenin, like Vladimir Lenin. And people are saying, well, this guy is not really Tommy Robinson. This guy is Yanksly Lenin, like Vladimir Lenin, the Bolshevik revolutionary. And he wants us all to be supporters of a foreign country. And he's going to this foreign country to promote this foreign country. So what's going on here? I thought this was about Britain and the concerns of the British people, not about the concerns of Israel. So the logical conclusion from that is, to hell with Tommy Robinson. That is the logical conclusion. Whether Tommy likes it or not, that is the logical conclusion. And that is the path that people are treading upon. And that is what people are going to spiral towards eventually. It's why I say that eventually, Tommy Robinson will be pushed out of the nationalist movement. Or maybe he will adapt and say F Israel. That's possible. But even if he does that, people are still going to see him as just really a grifter. So the nationalist movement is eventually going to turn on Israel. And it already is. It's only going to grow from this point.